In my truck, I have a lot of I have a lot of stuff in general. Tools. I have an old 2-man tent that I keep in there. Some fishing supplies. I've got a sleeping pad, which kind of doubles as a protective cover for my back seat because of my dogs. I don't want them digging holes in my leather seats. I've got food in there. I've got first aid supplies in there. I've got a water brick in there that's half full, not full because it's coming into wintertime. I'll have a little bit more on that, some of the things I'm trying with that too. Extra clothes, hats, gloves, stuff like that. Just that preparedness stuff, right? Because I'm a prepper, that's all the stuff that I put in there, and I put it in little bins and everything. But with this bag right here, what I wanted was something that I could kind of take back and forth. And I don't like the idea of taking my bug out bag with me in and out of the truck every single time. I don't think I'll go through that in a bit too. I don't think it's really necessary. But this gives me the option of some of those items that are perishable, or some of those things that need to be that inventoried more often than the other stuff. You know, tools can stay in there forever. Toe straps and jumper cables and stuff like that can stay in there forever. But when you have first aid supplies, you have food, you have water, things like that, those need to be checked on and maybe not even left out in the car for long periods of time. So I think this is a good way to take those things and make sure that they don't just get stuck in the car. Also, this gives me the options if I am, depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing, this gives me the option to have stuff that I can carry with me. This isn't all the way full. It is fuller. You'll see when I take it apart. It is fuller than I thought it was going to be. So a larger bag might be a better option, but we'll go through that when we get to that point. But at any rate, I didn't want to, I put a lot of effort into my bug out bag. And if somebody were to break into my truck, say they smash out the window, if they take the stuff that's in there, it's going to be a pain and it's going to suck, but it's not going to break my heart like if they stole my bug out bag, because not just the money, not just the cost of the bug out bag, but the time, the energy, the planning, and all that stuff that went into putting that bag together. That would really suck if that got stolen. So in today's society, I don't like the idea of putting it in my truck and just kind of leaving it there, because I never have trusted people, but these days it's just far worse than that. So far worse than it ever was. So that's why I decided to go this route. Now, I suppose I'll start off, and we'll start off with a couple of these slides here I've got on why I chose this route, and then we'll get into the other stuff. But the first is my plans for my bug out bag. And with this, it's like I said a little bit ago, it's just not that convenient to take a 30-pound bag or whatever size your bag is in and out from the car every time you go somewhere. And it's not something that you should be digging into on a daily basis. It is something, the only time you really should be digging into your bug out bag is when you're organizing supplies, when you're changing things out, when you got something new, but it's not something that really should be used on a daily basis. It is that emergency bag that is there. You want to make sure it's ready, good to go if and when that time comes that you need to use it. So, with that, that's why I was kind of like, well, my bug out bag, I don't want to have to take it in my car all the time, and I don't want to have to do all this stuff. So I need a different approach to this. Next, I've on this little chart here, I've got, it's really unrealistic to think that if I broke down or any type of situation, got caught in a snowstorm, where that would be necessary to have my bug out bag, because, and this is my situation I'm talking about here. If you are traveling to work, or maybe you work really far away, it takes over an hour to get to work. Your situation is different than mine. I work from home. I don't travel that much unless it's going to see people or going hiking or something like that. So most situations that I'm in, I don't have a real reason to have that bug out bag there. And that is because I have the supplies that I have in my truck, along with this everyday carry now, which kind of supplements all of that stuff. So it really isn't a 100% necessity that I have that bug out bag in my truck. And as far as, your bug, you've a get home bag is what's meant to get you to your bug out bag, right? So even though this isn't necessarily a get home bag that I put together here, it's sort of a smaller, I guess it could pass for one, a really small version of it. And we'll go through get home bags a little bit later too, but it's meant to get you. That get home bag is meant to, or that, yeah, the get home bag is meant to get you to where your bug out bag is. And then, hopefully anyway, it would take most situations you're going to, whether you're at work, whether you're wherever, your main focus is going to be trying to get home. And that's where your bug out bag is going to be. And then from there, you proceed how you need to, depending on what the situation is, if it's safe at your home, if it's not, and then you proceed from there. So that bug out bag isn't that daily type thing. That is an emergency bag. Like it says on this slide right here, there are times, though, that I will be taking the bag with me, and that depends on the trip. How far is the trip? Where am I going? Say I'm visiting relatives that are an hour and a half away. Where I live, everything's at least a half an hour away. So if it's far away, that might be a time when I'm like, okay, I'm just going to throw this in the truck. Why not? It's time to go. If, vacations, you're driving somewhere, say we're going down to see Lisa's parents down in Texas, that would absolutely be a time where I would want to take that. On an airplane, that's kind of a totally different situation. And that's a totally different topic altogether, is traveling and having these supplies and everything. And here at our house, we have all these kits ready anyway. And I think everyone that's in preparedness should have kits like this, where if there is an evacuation, if something does happen and you need to get out, we could probably, and this may be giving myself a little bit too much credit, but we could probably get out of here in 15 minutes with just grabbing a few of the kits we have around, the bags and a few things, just throw it in the truck and be gone. Say there's a wildfire or something like that, we'd be able to grab that stuff and get out of here. So it's important to have important documents, all the things that you would need, maybe, the few extra fuel cans and all the things that you would need to load up and get out as quick as you can, right there and handy, to where you're not looking around the house for all sorts of certain things. So my bug out bag, all of this is to say my bug out bag is one of those kits. It is that survival kit, that mini preparedness kit, like I always talk about. All right, so my everyday carry plans, now that I've went through what I plan to do with my bug out bag, my everyday carry plans is, like I said earlier, this is going to be an extension of what I already have in my truck. So there are things that I keep in my truck, like I said, that are perishable. The first aid supplies. I've really gotten into a bad habit the last couple years, that not checking stuff like I need to check it, because a lot of the stuff in there just doesn't need to be checked. But when you've got, I've got Mountain House in there, not a big deal. That stuff lasts forever. You've got tools in there, that stuff is going to be fine. I do have a charger in there, an air pump, and a jump starter in there that needs to be charged every few months. So I need to pay attention to that. But along with that, you've got the perishable stuff, like the different types of food. If you want different types of food other than Mountain House or the ration bars, you're going to want to adjust or rotate those out. And that, hence where the everyday carry bag comes in. Water, you don't necessarily, here in Colorado, don't necessarily want to keep it in the truck because it can freeze. With that, I do have some stuff I'm testing. I got a water brick, and I've got it about half full, and I'm going to test and see how that does if and when it freezes. Now, the problem with that is, if it does freeze, is I'm going to have a block of ice, and I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to be able to drink that. But at any rate, and then the first aid supplies, super important, because those things, a lot of them will last a very, very long time, but you've got the temperature fluctuations in your truck or in your car, which can decrease that lifespan of that stuff. All right, so the next one here is, it effectively serves the same purpose as a purse. And this is what I was thinking about earlier, is like, okay, this is basically a man purse that I'm making here. And that's because it sort of is. I mean, it's not a purse. I'm not carrying something on my shoulder. I just can't do that. Whenever I look in Lisa's purse, it kind of, it gives me pause a little bit. It's almost, I don't know if I want to say frightening, but I mean, you just never know what's in there. It's like, reaching into that magic hat and pulling out a rabbit or something. You never know what's going to happen in there. So, and I don't know where anything is. With one of these bags, I've got everything sort of separated and everything kind of, I know where everything is. So it sort of is a man purse, I suppose. It's something that is always going to have the essentials, but it's not, like I said on here, it's not going to become the catch-all. And I know Lisa's purse isn't necessarily a catch-all. It seems like that to me because I'm sure she knows exactly where everything is. I don't. So it seems like, you just throw some stuff in there and, everything's good to go after that. With me, I want to make sure that all my essentials, I know exactly what's in there. I know exactly where everything is, but I also want to have it large enough to where I can customize it for different situations. Say I'm going hiking, I might need to put a few extra things in there. Say I'm going to one of the kids' houses or a family member or something like that. Maybe I need to put something different in it that way. So it's not something that I just keep, maxed out, packed full to the brim. It's also something that I want to be able to, that's not going to be so heavy. I'm just going to be like, I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm just going to take it with me. Kind of like ladies in purses, they take it with them everywhere. The last one here, most importantly, is like I was just talking about. I want it to be something that becomes a habit that I just take with me. Sort of like the flashlight, the lighter, and the knife that I always have in my pocket. I've lost my lighter a couple times. It's fell out of my pocket, and you almost feel naked after that. Like, where did that thing go? I can't function without making sure I have that stuff in my pocket. So with that, that's what I want this to be. I want it to be convenient enough where I can, take this stuff wherever I need to go and make it so it's not going to be like, hey, forget it. I'm not going to worry about taking that this time. I'm going to go ahead and just, I'm only going to the grocery store, or I'm only going to this place. I want it to be something that I just grab. And it's something that if I forget my bag, I got to run back into the house. It's like, can't go anywhere without this stuff.